My name is Pocahontas, and I'm 27. On my birthday, I watched my brother unwrap a check for a $50,000 condo down payment while I received a used paperback book titled Managing Your Expectations. My father laughed, clapping him on the back. To the son who makes us proud, he announced to the room, "You get what you earn?" That night, I logged into the family business accounts and set in motion a birthday gift of my own they would never, ever forget. Where are you watching from today? Let me know in the comments. And hit that like and subscribe button if you know what it's like to be the pillar of the family. Only to be treated like the doormat, you're going to want to hear what happened next. Because this is where the story truly begins. At 2:15 in the morning, sitting in my small apartment that I paid for myself, I initiated the shutdown sequence. I was the silent, unacknowledged administrator of our family's construction firm. I'd built the entire digital infrastructure from the ground up. With a few precise clicks, I froze every single account. I suspended access to the project management software. I rerouted all client-facing email inquiries to a new personal inbox. Finally, I triggered a pre-written, automated email to our company lawyer, flagging a series of financial discrepancies and requesting an immediate, independent review of the books. I titled the email, Managing Expectations. Then I turned off my phone, poured a glass of wine, and for the first time in years, slept soundly through the night. Let me take you back, because this breakdown was years in the making. Our family business, Kokum Construction, was my grandfather's legacy. When my father took over, he had the ambition, but none of the discipline. 3 years ago, after a series of disastrously bad investments, the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. I had just graduated with a degree in business administration and a minor in software engineering. Pocahontas. Honey, my father had pleaded with me over a tense family dinner. We need you. Just for a little while, help us get back on our feet. My brother, Leo, just shrugged from across the table. Yeah, Poca. You're good with numbers and stuff. Fix it. So I did. I poured my entire $20,000 inheritance from my grandmother into the company to make payroll. I worked 18-hour days, untangling the financial mess, digitizing the archaic bookkeeping, and building relationships with clients who were ready to walk. I renegotiated debt, streamlined operations, and secured new contracts. I was the engine humming silently in the background, keeping the whole thing from crashing and burning. The promise was always the same. Once we're stable, you'll be made a full partner. This will all be yours one day. 2. But one day never came. 3 years passed. The business wasn't just stable. It was thriving. More profitable than ever before. My father took credit for the turnaround in the local business journal. Leo, who had a vague title of project manager but spent most of his days on the golf course with potential clients, got a brand new company truck and a corner office. I was still in the same small, windowless room in the back, drawing the same modest salary, being told to be patient. The money I'd saved them, the profits I'd generated, weren't reinvested into the company. They were funneled into Leo's lifestyle. His designer clothes, his expensive dinners, his weekend trips to Vegas. He's networking, my mother would say, as if that justified it. He's the face of the company. I was the foundation, and they were building their palace on top of me. Forgetting that foundations can crack, the breaking point wasn't just the $50,000 check for his condo. It was the condescending pat on the head that came with it. It was the laughter. It was the book. A clear message that my ambition, my expectation of being treated as an equal, was a flaw that I needed to manage. They didn't see me as a partner. They saw me as a utility. And that night, I decided to turn the power off. The fallout was biblical. By 10 o'clock the next morning, my phone, which I had just turned back on, had 37 missed calls and over 50 text messages. The voicemails were a masterclass in escalating panic. First came my father's confused, blustering, "Pocahontas. Something's wrong with the system. Nobody can log in. Call me back immediately. We have invoices to send." An hour later, his tone shifted to rage. "What did you do? The lawyer just called me about some nonsense email. You are out of line. This is my company." Then came the pleading from my mother. "Honey, please, your father is having a fit. Leo can't access the blueprints for the Henderson project. You're costing us money. Whatever is wrong, just fix it. We can talk about it later." But Leo's texts were the real prize. Asterisk. "Yo, what's the deal? The accounts are frozen. Asterisk, asterisk. This isn't funny. I need to pay my Amex bill. Asterisk, asterisk. You're just jealous about the condo. Grow up. You're ruining everything because you're spoiled." Spoiled? Me. The woman who ate ramen for lunch so the company could afford a new cement mixer. The irony was so thick, I could barely breathe through it. They had launched a full-scale campaign, painting me as the hysterical, jealous daughter throwing a tantrum. Relatives started calling, asking if I was okay, telling me I was breaking my mother's heart. My father left one final, chilling voicemail. "You have until 5 p.m. to restore access, or you are no longer part of this family, and I will see to it that you never work in this town again." That was his big mistake. He thought my only move was to retreat. He thought his power was absolute. He had no idea I was already 3 moves ahead, playing a completely different game. I didn't just shut down the system. I had a plan. For the past year, as I watched them siphon money for Leo's lifestyle, I started documenting everything. I made copies of the real ledgers. The ones before my father adjusted them for the accountant. I saved emails where he instructed me to code Leo's personal expenses as client entertainment. I had a complete, meticulously organized file detailing a pattern of financial mismanagement and potential tax fraud. My professional escalation wasn't going to be a shouting match. It was going to be a quiet, simple, and devastatingly effective business transaction. The Henderson project Leo was so worried about. It was our biggest contract, worth nearly $2 million. Mr. Henderson was an old-school businessman who valued discipline and integrity above all else. He and I had developed a good rapport over the past 6 months. He respected my attention to detail. While my family was busy blowing up my phone, I was sitting in a coffee shop across town, having a meeting with Mr. Henderson. I didn't show him the fraudulent books. I didn't need to. I simply laid out my own business plan. I explained that I was leaving Kokum Construction to start my own project management consultancy. I showed him a proposal that outlined how I could manage his project more efficiently, cutting overhead by 15% and guaranteeing completion 2 weeks ahead of schedule. He listened intently, his face unreadable. "Your father threatened to ruin you in this town?" he said, steepling his fingers. "He called me this morning, told me you were unstable. And what do you think I asked calmly?" He looked at my proposal, then back at me. "I think," he said with a slow smile, that Kokum Construction's biggest asset just walked out the door. Send me the contract. You're hired. My family found out when Mr. Henderson's lawyer sent the official notice of contract termination to their office, citing a shift in management strategy. The loss of their biggest client, combined with the frozen accounts and the impending legal review, was a death blow, and it pushed them from panicked into criminal. They got desperate. With the accounts still frozen, they couldn't cover the checks they'd already written. Leo's new condo was in jeopardy. My father, in a move of stunning arrogance and stupidity, tried to solve the problem. By forging my signature, he attempted to take out a $50,000 line of credit against the business. He didn't know that 2 years ago, I had put a fraud alert on the company's credit profile that required verbal confirmation from me using a specific password for any new debt incurred. The bank manager, a woman I'd taken the time to get to know, called me directly. Pocahontas, she said, her voice cautious. Your father is here with a loan application. He says you're out of town, but gave him authorization. I just need your verbal confirmation. That's interesting, I said, my voice cold as ice. Because I'm sitting in my car in your parking lot right now. Please, keep him there. I'm on my way in. And you might want to discreetly call the police. I walked into the bank and found my father and Leo standing at the manager's desk. Their faces, a mixture of fury and shock. I didn't say a word to them. I looked at the manager. That is a forged signature. I stated clearly, I did not authorize this loan. This is attempted bank fraud. The power flip was absolute. The color drained from my father's face. Leo looked like he was going to be sick. The fight went out of them completely, replaced by the stark, animal fear of people who have finally, irrevocably, been caught. They were escorted by security to a back room to wait for the police, but I wasn't finished. I had one last card to play. I told the bank manager I wouldn't press charges yet. Then I walked into the room where my father and brother were being held. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice leaving no room for negotiation. The lawyer's review has uncovered years of tax evasion. The bank has you on video attempting to commit fraud. You have two choices. Choice one, I hand over all of my documentation to the district attorney, and you both go to prison. My father started to bluster, but I cut him off. Choice two, you sign over 100% of your shares in Kokum Construction to me for the price of $1. You will walk away. You will disappear from my life and my business. You will tell everyone you decided to retire early and leave the company to your brilliant, deserving daughter. Leo will get a job. A real one. You will never contact me for money again. My father stared at me. His eyes filled with a hatred so pure, it was almost beautiful. He saw his legacy, his pride, his kingdom, crumbling to dust at his feet. All because he couldn't bring himself to value his daughter. You wouldn't, he whispered. Try me, I said, sliding the dissolution papers my lawyer had prepared across the table. You have 5 minutes to decide before I walk out of this room and press charges for fraud. He didn't take 5 minutes. He took 30 seconds. He signed, Leo, weeping silently, signed after him. The sirens were getting closer as I walked out of the bank. I didn't stay to watch the aftermath. I didn't need to. I had won. I dissolved Kokum Construction. 6 months later, I launched Pocahontas Project Management. I started with the Henderson contract and built from there. I rehired some of the best employees my father had let go, and I built a company based on integrity and respect. A company that was truly mine, built not on a broken legacy, but on a foundation of my own making. My mother left my father and moved to another state. Leo, stripped of his trust fund and easy lifestyle, ended up working for a landscaping company. I hear he's a hard worker. Now that he has to be, victory isn't always a loud celebration. Sometimes, it's the quiet hum of a business running smoothly. It's the peace of knowing your success is your own. It's the freedom of a life unburdened by people who refuse to see your worth. Justice isn't always about punishment. Sometimes, it's about creating a world where people get exactly what they've earned. Have you ever had to make a clean break to build your own future? Cutting ties isn't about hate, it's about self-preservation. Share your story of when you chose to build your own foundation.